Welcome to Pub Sports Radio. We got 8 games on the card today. Monday, August 17th. Luis Castillo, suddenly awesome. Martin Perez, lights out. We got the Blake Snell, suddenly great. We're going to talk about all of it. Tune in, baby.
Yeah, I'm so fresh like the morning. Mouth wide open like they yawning. Every time they see me, they in G-Stride. Homie, this is too far. Homie, I feel too alive. You can see me like Illuminati. You can see me like Illuminati. But I'm trying to...
Homie, Fatuaba, whatever that line is. I need to learn what that line is. I know all the others. Shout out to everyone. Welcome to Pub Sports Radio. It's Monday, August 17th. We got 8 MLB games on the card tonight. We got game 2 of the St. Louis-Cincinnati doubleheader. We got the return of McClanahan for Tampa Bay. That's interesting. We got Martin Perez suddenly lights out. We got Luis Castillo, mediocre at best only once in a while all year long. Now coming off a 7-inning, 10 strikeout, 1 hitter with his changeup really working. Is that likely to continue? We got Walker Buehler. It's always interesting when it's Walker Buehler day. A lot of interesting stuff on the card today. We'll break it all down. We've got, of course, as is always the case, the Colorado Rockies, just a massive underdog to the Dodgers. Blake Snell, starting. First start back was not good. Second start back was awesome. Now he's going on the road as a -2 whatever favorite at Colorado. That's interesting. We will discuss it all, see where the value might be. Swiggy, shout out to Swiggy, Mr. Toronto, 1716 AOD. We love Loshak. Thank you so much, AOD. I'm sure some people would come in and say, don't speak for all of us, AOD. But I understand what you're saying. Shout out AOD. Shout out AOD. All right. Okay. Shout out Mr. Toronto, 1716. Save you first 5 under the Pitt Boston game. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that one. That was Friday. All right, we're gonna break this all down. Yeah. Friday was interesting. There were a bunch of pitcher props that I gave out that didn't win, but also a bunch of underdog money lines that cashed. I think 3 out of 4 of them cashed. I didn't even remember. Milwaukee did lose, right, on Friday, but yeah, whole bunch of like ugly underdogs cashed. Kind of a few games that are feeling similar here. Even the friggin' Colorado game, just a bunch of the numbers say take the dog. It feels uncomfortable and sickening to actually do it. 1 or 2 of them are going to lose by a mile, and you think I was just way wrong on that one. But overall, dogs are probably the sides that have some value. We will talk about it. You know what I mean? A lot on today. A lot of these ugly dogs also on today's card. Baltimore, big dog against McClanahan, right? Chris Sanchez going up against Miami. Of course, Chris Sanchez is awesome, but Miami's been winning, and you got Philly should be a big favorite, but 240. Numbers say take Miami there. Let's see where the Arizona-Boston game, very similar. Boston can be so good, and Bayo so awesome as a primary, but Arizona getting a big dog line. There's another one there. The A's and KC, there's another one. Mason Barnett has just been terrible so far as a starter for the A's, but KC like a almost 200 favorite with Waka starting. The numbers say take the A's, even though it makes me feel very, very uncomfortable. The White Sox, same deal. That one really makes me feel uncomfortable because, Castillo to do that 2 games in a row and Imanaga coming off of his worst start in a while. Still, numbers say take the White Sox. There's another dog. And, of course, Colorado at my +2 whatever. So we'll talk about each game individually, but, I probably will wind up giving a whole bunch of really ugly dogs. Hopefully, half of them will cash, half of them will lose, and it'll come out profitable. And a few of the ones that lose will lose by a mile. And in retrospect, you'll think you were probably wrong about that. Maybe I was. We'll talk about it all. Everyone get your notes together. I got all my stuff here, and I guess let's jump right in. Let me make sure I do have all my notes here. Yeah, we don't need that. We don't really need that, I don't think. All right, let's start. Everyone got your notes together? Because we're going to need your feedback on this. First game, we're going to talk about Baltimore against Tampa Bay. Brandon Young against McClanahan. McClanahan, of course, went on the 15-day injured list, some back tightness. And McClanahan, when he's good, when he's on his top of his game, which is about half the time or more, lights out, right? And often does have value even as a -180 favorite or whatever. But, this year he's had a bunch of starts where he was, just mediocre, 5 innings, 3 runs. Baltimore, of course, can win. They're good. That was one of the picks, I think, on Friday, right? Baltimore has won the first 3 games of this series. First one was on Friday. It was kind of an ugly dog line for them. I think I wound up in the video, though, saying take -1 at like plus 190, some even bigger dog line. But yeah, they won that one as a big dog, even though on paper it felt a little bit uncomfortable. Same kind of deal here, Now Baltimore's won 3 in a row. Is Tampa Bay going to get swept? Maybe. Sweeps do happen. Of course, Tampa Bay have been rolling before this series. They swept their entire road trip, 9 games. Now they're back home and they've lost 3 in a row to Baltimore, who is a decent little team here. Bullpens are a wash. And, McClanahan against Young. McClanahan, of course, very, very good. Great. But, question mark with him coming back. And then on the other side for the Orioles, Brandon Young, overall, pretty good. Often does give up 3 or 4, but he's been getting a lot of grounders in his last 2 starts, which is nice. So Young could get lit up here. This could easily be Tampa Bay wins at 8-3 or 8-2. McClanahan goes, 6 innings, 1 run. Baltimore picks up another run late, but it doesn't really matter because they get 5 off of Young in 4 innings. So it's entirely possible that that Tampa Bay rolls here. Maybe Tampa Bay -2 or 2.5 is worth a shot. But running the numbers said take Baltimore at like plus 140, 150 or so. The line hasn't really moved. Still Tampa Bay about -160 or so market wide. Total has not maybe bet down just a teeny bit. Still 8 pretty solid juice to the under or 7.5 juice to the over. So numbers also liking the under a little bit, but again, that could get completely blown up if Brandon Young gets touched with. There is a decent possibility of that. Although it's also a decent shot that Young comes in 4 innings, 5 runs, and again, it still sneaks under. Tampa Bay wins it 6-1, something like that. Clanahan comes in and is just great. So it's interesting. Young's strikeout prop is very, very low, 3.5, a bit heavily juiced to the over, but 3.5 -140 or so. In his last 17 starts, he's gotten 4 or more strikeouts, 15 of those starts. So it's definitely, Tampa Bay, it's hard to strike out against righties. I know their strikeout percentage is, 18, 19% roughly recently, but that's kind of noteworthy that that his strikeout prop is so low. Let's look at the comment section. What's up, everyone? What's up, Colin Gregory? Yeah, of all the dogs, this one really makes me feel nervous because I don't really, the numbers like it, but it's not a good spot on paper for Brandon Young. He's got a higher than average chance of having one of his 3 or 4 run starts here. And McClanahan, I'm assuming will be fine. He was only on the injured list for 15 days or so. And of course, when he's on his game, he can be lights out, which he was before he went on the injured list. So this makes me pretty nervous. The under also has some value, and I think maybe I'll take a shot with that. Hopefully Young doesn't get lit up. All right, we'll take that. We'll take it. We'll take full game under 8, -118, current line Pinnacle, official pick. Young could easily get lit up here. And if he does, that doesn't mean the under is cooked, but it's definitely not looking good. That's like in poker when you're a 20% chance and you're hoping for, one of your 8 outs to come in or whatever. So we'll take it, though. Under 8, -118. Official pick, Baltimore, Tampa Bay. Numbers also like just a little bit Baltimore as this big of a dog. See if people are thinking, I don't know if I want to give that, though. The numbers do like it, though. The Orioles had it's just such a big line. It should not be that big, according to my numbers. But I think we'll hold off. We'll hold off on that one. Baltimore Orioles as a big dog like that. We'll hold off. Borderline, but we'll hold off. All right, next game on the card. Miami and Philly, another one. Obviously, Philly should be a huge favorite here. Sanchez against Jansen Junk. That's just a massive starting pitching edge to Philly on paper. But Philly should not be -240 or whatever they were earlier, according to my numbers. And that's still where they are. If anything, it's gotten bet up a little bit. Jansen Junk has been getting good results for Miami. That is probably at least partially illusory. He's always due for a blow up. And, similar to Brandon Young, my numbers indicate that his likelihood of a blow up here is higher than average for him. And Chris Sanchez, August has been very good. His July was not, didn't have a good July, but, he's back. And August, he's excellent. He's very good. But Miami, no slouch of a team, playing well, right? They won 2 or 3 at Cincinnati, won their last 2, now on to Philly, and Philly back from a 6-game trip. Nice little trip. They went 4-2. They swept Minnesota in their last series. So, adding it all up, Sanchez, huge pitching advantage. Miami, a nice little team. Philly, a nice little team too. And Philly should be an enormous favorite here, but not as big of a favorite as they are, according to my numbers. Let's see what people like here. Colin Gregory's on Philly -1.5, -120, and Marlins team total under. Yeah, look, if Sanchez comes in here and goes 6 shutout innings, which is entirely possible, 7 innings, 1 run, which is, dare I say, likely, I feel you. Jansen Junk is more likely than not to get lit up here, but the numbers like Miami. Probably one of Miami or the Orioles wins outright here. It's not a big bullpen edge here for Philly either. A lot of times they do have a bullpen edge. That's also not the case. They'll need Sanchez to go deep, which of course he's entirely capable of. Although he was a little bit wearied reportedly in his last start. And this is another one where a little bit of a lean to the under. Let's see. So the total, the side, it's almost gotten bet up higher. Philly was like -240 earlier. Now it's up to 245 or 250. So definitely has not moved in Miami's favor. Total has gotten bet up a bit though. It was 8 a bit juice to the over earlier, and now it's 8 more, a lot more juice to the over, almost 8.5 now. So it's almost like a 10-cent move to the over, which is interesting. That probably suggests that Junk is going to get hit, not Sanchez, which again does line up with the way what my numbers like here. Let's just look at if there's any way to the Philly team total over has a little bit of value according to my numbers here. Where's the first 5 team total? Where is that? Oh, I'm not seeing it. No, we're not seeing it. Okay, let's see what the comments. Yeah, so all right. Colin Gregory likes Phillies. I definitely understand it. My numbers like Miami, but only a little bit, and it makes me extraordinarily nervous. Slightly into the under as well, even though it's nice hitting weather here. And Junk could easily, it's very similar to the Baltimore game, actually. Very similar stuff to Baltimore and Tampa Bay. No doubt about that. Absolutely. Maybe we'll take the under. Again, I don't like the fact that it's gotten bet up. Numbers like it, though. I hate going against a market move like this, but yeah. Jansen Junk could easily get lit up. I'll make this one official as well, though. Under 8.5. -110 current line Pinnacle. My numbers like it. I hate the fact that it's going in this direction. It's not a good spot for Jansen Junk, but they still numbers still like the Marlins at this huge of a dog line. We're not going to take that one either. You're not going to take that one either. Although, yeah, it is the Miami. Miami is probably the team with some value here. I think I might have to take it. Gosh, both Miami and Baltimore. Yeah, it's very, very tough. Very, very tough. So borderline. I think I will do it, though. It's so borderline. I think I will do it. All right, we'll go for it. We'll pull the trigger on it. We will. Miami Marlins, full game, +219, current line Pinnacle. Numbers like it a little bit. I should probably go with the Baltimore game as well, just because, one of those. It'll be frustrating if that's the one that wins and this one loses. Not a good spot for Junk, but he should be okay. All right, we'll see. We'll see how it all turns out. Going directly against Colin Gregory, D4K. It's only a very slight lean there on both of them. But we're going to make both official picks. Miami at such a huge dog line. And then and the under as well. 8.5 -110. And if Junk gets lit up, both of those are toast. And Colin Gregory gets his cashes. All right, next game. So some other plays on the card that I'm liking a bit more. This is one of St. Louis and Cincinnati. Of course, this is game 2 of the doubleheader. Cards won the first game 2-1. Palante against Lauder. Palante overall very good. Can have a 5 or 6 run dud once in a while, but usually mostly very good. And then the other side, Louder, also pretty decent and reliable right now. A tick less good overall than Palante, but kind of the same deal. Very good for like 5 or 6 innings or so, 2 runs or so, two runs or so every start. Cardinals definitely rolling right now. They had won 9 out of 13 before game 1, and now it's 10 out of 14. And the Reds had been rolling, but they slumped a bit recently. But I'm liking the Reds here with Palante against Louder. St. Louis used a bunch of their relievers in the first game, and Palante can be good, but Louder should be able to match him. The total has gotten bet down just a little bit, actually, and we will make the Cincinnati Reds an official pick here in game 2. Current line plus 104, Pinnacle. Money line, Cincinnati Reds plus 104, Pinnacle. We'll make that an official pick. Very tempting to take a -1 at like plus 155. But we won't. But it's very tempting to do that with a little bit of volatility, added in there. We'll just take the Reds on the money line plus 104. Although really probably I should take the -1 line at plus 155. There's more value there, I think, because of a volatility all the way around here. And actually, you know what? We will do that. If Cincinnati wins by 1, okay. You'll take switch to -1. The Reds full game money line plus 104. The run line is plus 199. Current line at Pinnacle, so that comes out to about -1 plus 155. Cincinnati Reds official pick right there. Cincinnati Reds official pick. No real opinion on total. Slightly into the over, actually. Slightly into the Cincinnati team total over as well. But which would just be 4, just a bit juice to the over. But I don't know if I want to double up on that. Not a great spot for Palante here. Let's see if the lineups have been announced yet. See what kind of information we. Yeah, there you go. St. Louis's lineup is in. Yeah, all right. Yes, we're gonna take the Reds -1 here, full game, and we'll see how it turns out. Definitely leaning to the over, for sure. For sure, just a bit to lean to the over. Maybe we'll add on, yeah, just in case Cincinnati, just in case St. Louis comes in and puts it up a big number as well. We'll add that one on as well. Yeah, Cincinnati Reds, full game, team total over. We're going to go to 4. 3.5 is -155. 4.5 is plus 115. So combined, it comes to about, -120 or so, I think. Cincinnati Reds, full game, team total over 4. About -120 or so. That's a second official pick there. Cincinnati Reds, full game, team total over. We'll just leave it at that. Glance at the comment section and move on. All right. Next game on the card, Detroit and Pittsburgh. Framber Valdez against Mlodzinski for Pittsburgh. And, he's a guy who, converted reliever who's now making like 3 inning starts. His first one was pretty good. Last 2 were not good. He's definitely gotten hit. It was not really working out, this experiment that they're doing with him. Valdez on the other side, up and down, very capable, of course, of 1-run type starts. But also can get hit. Got hit in his last start. Getting grounders recently, so that should be pretty good. Detroit, had been rolling, playing great. We know about that, but they just got swept by the White Sox, which is a little forgivable now on the road. And the Pirates, okay, they had been not good for a while. Just won 2 or 3 against Boston, which is nice. Offense coming back a little bit. And yeah, so adding it all up, the question is Mlodzinski going to struggle again in his 3-inning appearance? How deep is he going to go? And is Valdez going to come in here and have one of his 1-run type starts? Or is he going to get touched up again like he did in his last start? I was thinking that that Valdez would be good here and that Detroit, as a small favorite, would have some value. I like Detroit, but it's clearly flipped. Now Pittsburgh is a teeny favorite. So clear market move in favor of Pittsburgh. Not a huge one, but a very, very significant one. Detroit has flipped from a very small dog to very small favorite to a very small dog. And the total has interestingly gotten bet way up. It was like 8, slightly juiced to the under earlier. And now it's 8.5, a little bit juiced to the over. So more than a half run move to the over, which is pretty interesting. This one I didn't have an opinion. I was leaning over, but I was more so thinking about the Detroit team total over. Yeah, I was definitely leaning over, actually. leaning / thinking over, but not that strong. And that also, so I was right about my over lean, but wrong about my Detroit lean, which is pretty interesting. Yeah. Colin Gregory says, why is the line so short and the line flipped? Bet the Pirates. Absolutely, Colin Gregory. We had this last week with that game with Minnesota as a home favorite. Very similar situation here, very similar type line move. I talked about it in the show. I was like, Minnesota's, it's got to be Minnesota or nothing here. Even though I was liking Detroit earlier, now at this current movement and the move to the over, you're absolutely right. It's Pittsburgh or nothing. The question is, do I have the cojones to give it out? Colin Gregory says Tigers bullpen is used up as well. Yep, and I do have a modest bullpen edge here to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh roughly league average for this one, but Detroit significantly below average. You're right. Nasty motherfucker. Day says pizza the most believable in white. Yeah, I have some authority when I'm wearing all white. I hear you. All right, you know what? We're gonna do it. We're gonna make it official. We didn't make it official with that Minnesota game last week, but we sure as hell talked about it a lot. But we are gonna pull the trigger on this. Earlier, I like Detroit. It's flipped to Pittsburgh. I like the over. It's moved to the over, but much more than I expected. And we'll take it. Pittsburgh Pirates, full game, money line, -106, current line Pinnacle. There you go. Maybe you should take Pirates -1 plus 143 or so, but we're not going to. Just the Pirates full game money line, -106, official play, current line, Pinnacle. And then I don't know what to do about this over. Obviously, the over, the original line had a lot of value. Now it's like 8.5, -110 or so. You can buy down to 8 and get like 135 or so. Pretty tempting to do that. Yeah, I think I do like that. The over. I think I do. Yeah. All right. We'll double up. So if my initial thoughts were correct and Detroit just puts up a huge number and wins, then hopefully I'll cash the over as well. We'll take it. Full game over. 8.5 -109 current line Pinnacle. We won't take the 8 -131 or be really nasty and take 7. I might as well just 8.5 over -109 after the move current line Pinnacle. We'll take it. 2 official picks on this one. We'll go for it. Very, very interesting game there as well. All right, now let's move on. Next game on the card, Arizona-Boston. Here it is. Mitch Bratt for Arizona going against Gamboa as the opener for Boston, and then Bayo for Boston. This guy is unbelievable. As a starter, he was like arguably the worst starter all season long. As a bulk reliever, he's been arguably Mizorowski level. It's lights out. And these are not small sample sizes either, right? As a starter, 36 innings, was just shellacked. As a bulk reliever, almost 50 innings, 48 innings, and an ERA under 1. So it's just the exact same pitcher, but something about being a bulk reliever is what Bayo is meant to do and not be a starter. So is that going to continue here? You got to assume so. Gamboa, nice opener. Overall, he's been good. He'll only go an inning or so. On the other side, you have Mitch Bratt. First few starts of the year were not good. The last 3 starts were excellent. A lot of fly balls, but his walks are down in his last 2 starts. He has issue with walks. Those are down. So his last 2 starts were good. And then, of course, Boston, for an extended period of time, was an absolute juggernaut, couldn't lose. Went on a road trip, lost 5 of 7. They lost the first 2 at home before that, so they've now lost 7 of their last 9. So does Boston suck now? Not exactly sure. And Arizona won 2 or 3 at Atlanta. They've been playing well for a while. 2, excellent bullpens here. So that's nice. And again, running the numbers, despite Bayo being lights out as a bulk reliever, is like in Arizona a little bit, similar to the other games, at plus 130 or whatever. Nasty Nate says Red Sox smash. Colin Gregory says lean D-backs and under. Yes, my numbers, absolutely. D-backs and under at the lines. Under was 9 and -118 under, and Arizona at like plus 130 or so. We'll see if that line has moved. Arenado is probably out for Arizona, which is not good. I'm assuming he's out. Let's see. Let's see if the Arizona lineup is. I'm assuming Arenado is not going to be in for. He is listed as expected, but I suspect he'll be out. Yeah, let's see where the line is right now, and a pretty big move in favor of Arizona. Now Arizona's just like plus 120 or so, 115, 120, 121 in Pinnacle. So yeah, so that's like a 10, 15 cent move in favor of Arizona. Total is right about where it was earlier, 9 juice to the under. Yeah, my numbers liked Arizona at the line a little bit. And the under. That's very tough. Arenado being out. Yeah, I don't know if I want to pull the trigger on this under here. It's just so tough. 2 good bullpens though. Yeah. All right, maybe I will just pull another. I could get really screwed here. Because it is very high humidity here. And Bayo, of course, Brat could get touched. Yeah, I'm gonna hold off on the under in this one. My numbers like it, but it's very, very risky. Brat gives up a lot of fly balls. That's not good. I'm sure my numbers don't like Arizona at the current line though, because they don't liked it a little bit before. Brat should be vulnerable. Bayo, who knows? Of course, you give him credit, but it's just weird how that is. And Arizona has a nice little lineup there, although Arenado being out won't be good. Yeah, Robert Franklin likes the under 9. My numbers like the under. Maybe I should have a little bit of ball for once in my life. Yeah, and if that under cashes, I'll be frustrated. All right, we'll take it. We'll make it official. It's borderline, but we'll take it. Full game under 9, minus 113 current line Pinnacle. Numbers do like it, so I'll take a chance again and just go with that, even though a lot of reason to feel uncomfortable about it. But we'll take it. There's another official play. Yeah, Rob Franklin Arenado undergoing MRI today. He's out. Yeah, he's still on RotoWire listed as expected, but I'm sure he's out. Yeah. All right, so that's another one interesting. Another interesting game. We'll take the under officially. Next one, Padres and Mets. Walker Buehler against Nolan McLean. Padres definitely rolling, right? They've won 2 or 3 at Cleveland. Now onto the Mets. They've been rolling for a while, really picking it up. And the Mets are now finally starting to win as well when it doesn't really matter. They just swept Washington. Statistically, a massive bullpen edge here, though, for the Padres. Buehler against McLean, kind of a wash. Buehler has been definitely pitching decently. He still should give up a couple runs here, but not likely to get touched. And then Nolan McLean, pretty up and down, pretty high volatility. Excellent start last out at Atlanta, but got hit at Cleveland before that. He should be okay here, but San Diego can definitely test, and they have both these teams have good numbers against righties recently. Feels like it could go either way on the side, but a massive bullpen edge statistically to the Padres. So when the starters are out, depending on the situation and the lines, definitely going to look hard at live betting the Padres, depending on how the game has gone. It's kind of close. Probably the Padres have a nice edge with the bullpens involved. Has been a market move towards the Mets, though. About a 5-cent move or so, a little bit more than that, Earlier, the Mets were like 115, 120. Now they're like 125, 130. So about an 8 or 10-cent market move towards the Mets, which is not huge, but definitely significant. It's definitely noteworthy. And the total, a small move to the under, which also not huge, but definitely significant. It was 8 slightly juiced to the over earlier. Now it's 8 slightly juiced to the under. That tells you that McLean is probably the market liking McLean to deal because the Mets don't have a big bullpen edge. They don't have a bullpen edge at all. They're at a big bullpen disadvantage here statistically to the Padres. So McLean's probably going to deal here. Maybe just McLean to get over 17 and a half outs. My numbers also like that a little bit. McLean over 17 and a half outs at even money. A little bit of value according to my numbers, but yeah, it's a tough one. Maybe just pass on the whole thing. Maybe it's Mets first 5 is the way to go. Oh no, was McLean no, McLean wasn't 17. Yeah, because now he's 17 and a half, like way juiced to the over. Minus 160 or so. Yeah, so clearly the market expecting McLean to have a nice start here. And so the Mets first 5 are probably going to be what, like minus 135 or so? Let's see where that is. Where is that? Where is the first 5 here? Let's see. I find it. All right, let's see. Hold on. somewhere else. Hold on. Let's look at this. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, so the Mets are like a 30-cent more expensive favorite first five than full game. That's telling you a lot. The Mets first five is probably the way to go here because that big market move was not because of any kind of bullpen edge. That's telling you that that McLean is going to deal. Because if he doesn't deal, there's no way there would be that kind of a move towards yeah. Mets are a much, much bigger favorite. All right. I think we'll just believe that market move and tail it. We're going to, Colin Gregory, like in Mets first five -0.5. We're just going to take -140. New York Mets, first 5 innings, money line, -140. Current line Pinnacle, we'll take it. We'll take it. Interesting. McLean should deal. It's just Walker Buehler has been okay as well. Yes, expensive reason, as Jimmy would say. Godfather, shout out to the Godfather, like no run in the first inning, and Buehler over 2.5 strikeouts. Yeah, Buehler does not really get strikeouts. Very interesting game. No doubt thinking about a live bet on San Diego after McLean is out and Buehler's out. But we'll go with them with what Margaret's telling us. Take Mets after the move, first 5 innings, money line, -140. And just leave it there. Total, again, has gotten bet down, which tells you that it's not because that the Mets move is not because they think Walker Buehler is going to get particularly touched. That's that McLean is going to have a particularly nice start. All right. We'll just leave it right there. That's it. Mets first 5 money line, -140. Next game on the card, the A's and KC. Another one where the numbers said take the ugly dog. Mason Barnett against Waka. You know, the A's are actually 4-4 in their last 8. Now, I did cherry pick the beginning of that run. So that means it's a statistically horrible thing to do, but it's interesting. A's getting a win or two here and there now. Definitely not good, but I would say not horrific. And then KC, kind of interesting. Back from the West Coast trip, they went 2-4 on that trip. They played the Dodgers very close as a massive dog in each game. Then they went to Angels, won 2 of 3. So Casey's all right. Pasquantino and Michael Garcia might be back. What I was reading. Let's see if the lineup is in. Yep, Pasquantino. Vinny Pasquantino. Do you have any idea what he will fucking do to you? Vinny Pasquantino in the lineup and Garcia in the lineup as well. So that's nice. Long term. Not sure exactly about this exact game for them, though. Pasquantino, of course, been out for about 3 weeks. Garcia has been out for longer than that. All right. So 2 big names back in the KC lineup. First game back, though, doesn't necessarily mean they're going to produce here. My number, even with those guys in, my number like KC is a massive, massive dog. Mason Barnett starting for the A's. He, had been terrible so far as a starter. His first one was he gave up a bunch of runs, but he got 6 strikeouts. But his next 2 games, he gave up 3 home runs in each game. And his last start, he had literally 0 strikeouts. So he might be injured. He might be bad and injured at the same time. But my number said take a shot with his over 3.5 strikeouts at plus money, even though KC is tough to strike out against righties. And even though Barnett is not looking good right now on paper, because, he does get, a strikeout or so an inning. And that's just a very low number. The number said, take it. He's not expected to go deep, only, outs prop 13.5. But even there, 3.5 over at plus money. And even though Casey has low strikeout numbers versus righties, had some value. So very, very nervous, but I don't know if I want to pull the trigger on it. Let's see if the line has moved. Yes, the line moved a little bit in the A's favor, despite everything that I was just talking about. So Casey earlier was like -190. Now they're more like 185 or so, 180. So a small market move in favor of the A's. And, again, it's super ugly. Super ugly. Maybe I should take the A's -1 at plus 216 or so, but I think I'll just take them money line plus 164. Definitely makes me nervous, but, the numbers like it a little bit. So, So I think we'll take it. Maybe we should just take the friggin' plus 216, you know? Yeah, and it was high volatility, of course. All right, we'll take it. We'll take the A's full game -1, money line plus 164, the run line plus 245. So that comes to about plus 215 or so. Another one, huge -1 dog line here. A's full game -1 plus 215 or so. The money line and the run line that I just quoted. And I think we will add on the Mason Barnes. If he's injured, okay. But the line is just too low according to my numbers. Let's just glance and see what the best line is we can get here. Compare like Caesars and Pinnacle, and we'll just do that. All right, we'll take it. Mason Barnett over 3.5 strikeouts plus 109. Current line Caesars. Make that an official pick as well. He could easily come in here and give up 3 runs in 1 1/3 innings, get no strikeouts, and Casey's up 8-zip after 2 innings. If that happens, okay. Entirely possible. Entirely possible. Also lean to the over 9 on this one, and let's see if that line has moved at all. No, it hasn't. In fact, it's moved a teeny bit to the under, which is a little interesting. Waka, of course, has been okay overall. His peripherals are not great often, although sometimes he does have big strikeout numbers. But lean to the over here. And maybe I will pull the trigger on that because I can't really, it's gone in the opposite direction, which you don't like to see, but I think we will. My numbers like it. I don't like the fact that it hasn't moved, but we'll take it. Full game over 9, -101, current line Pinnacle. We'll make that an official pick right there. Okay. Bunch of plays here. Hopefully they all in the wash come out and we're up a unit or two. Definitely nice that Pasquantino is back for KC, but just too big of a dog, according to my numbers. All right, we got 3 games more to go, and then we'll wrap this up. Thomas Maggio, there you go. All right, let's see. Next game on the card is going to be the Atlanta game. We'll talk about this one. Let's see. Thomas Maggio likes something here. It's Atlanta against Minnesota. Martin Perez against Bailey Ober, and Martin Perez has had a pretty impressive year all year long. Then he came down to earth a little bit. In August, though, lights out. Literally has not given up a run. All those starts have been at home. Now he goes on the road where he's definitely been more vulnerable. On the other side, Bailey Ober, in general, vulnerable. Once in a while, very good. He's also been much better overall at home. So you do have some small sample size splits that favor Minnesota here. Perez, much less good on the road than at home. Ober, much better at home than on the road. Atlanta, of course, an excellent team. 3-3 on their homestand. Now they head out on the road. And Minnesota, not an excellent team. They can get you a win here and there. They just got swept against Philly, which is a little bit forgivable, but they'll still get you a win here and there. 2 bullpens that are above average. And my number said take Minnesota as a tiny dog. Believe it or not. Minnesota just not doing very well right now, but they're okay. Perez should not be as good as he was earlier. Lions moved in Atlanta's favor, though, which is not good to see. I don't know if I can fade that move. Not a huge one, but definitely significant. Minnesota was like plus 105 or so earlier. Now they're like 110, 113, headed up a little bit. So about an 8 or 10 cent move, another one of those old 8 or 10 cent market moves. It's not huge, but definitely significant. My number's like Minnesota. But if Minnesota was really clearly the side with value, we probably would have seen a move towards them, if not flip to the favorite, like we saw just today with Pittsburgh, like we saw with Minnesota last week. And, of course, they did get the win. Here we're seeing the opposite, a move towards Atlanta. Man, that's tough. Let's see. Godfather says, I want to bet the Braves, just can't do it. Colin Gregory says split against Braves money line and Braves team total over. Thomas Maggio also liking Braves team total over, which on paper looks okay. Ober in general, vulnerable. Atlanta lineup in general, good. Definitely the lines moved in Atlanta's favor. Let's see where this total is sitting right now. Yep, move to the over. All right. So everyone who took the Braves team total over, that's definitely where the market has moved. A small but significant move in Atlanta's favor. A modest but significant move in towards the over. It was 9, juice to the under earlier. Now it's 9, pretty solidly juice to the over. Yeah. Man, I was leaning over myself as well. And more so first five, just because two kind of nice bullpens here. Perez, again, awesome in at home in July, but I don't expect that to continue here. And Ober, as everyone's saying, once in a while, very good, much better at home, but definitely can get touched. So yeah, let's look at where the first fives are here. Minnesota and Atlanta. Yeah, the first five money lines are about the same. Total though, yeah, 5 minus 122. First five. Because if the first five doesn't go over, then I wouldn't feel comfortable having the full game. All right, we'll take it. We like the over, even though Ober can be good, especially at home, even though Martin Perez has been so good. Little contrarian, I guess. We'll take first five over 5 minus 122, current line Pinnacle. First five over 5 minus 122, current line Pinnacle. And I would love to pull the trigger on Minnesota, but it's just the market is saying that's obviously not the right thing to do here. The market is just saying that's obviously not the right thing to do here. Should I go against that? It's tempting. I mean, Atlanta clearly the better team, obviously. Probably just better to stick with the totals here. If I wanted to take Minnesota, just take the team total over instead, right? Yeah. Man. Yep. Atlanta does have such a good lineup there. Look at that. Godfather can't bet the Braves. Should I go against the market move here? I took the over. You know what? I will. We'll see how this shakes out. And we're going to go with the volatility. Minnesota -1. We're going to take them, even though the market has moved in Atlanta's favor. So don't tail this. But full game, Minnesota money line +113. The run line is +214. Those are the lines currently at Pinnacle. So -1 comes out to about +170. We'll take it. Minnesota Twins, full game, -1. And we're all taking the first five over. That is something you really should not do when there's been a market move like that to a road favorite like this. But we're going to take it. We're going to take Minnesota here. Another one. Making me fucking nervous. But we're going to take it. All right, next game on the card. Another super interesting one. White Sox and Cubs. Chicago rivalry series here. Luis Castillo against Imanaga. Luis Castillo, of course, had not been doing well at all year long. But, he's a changeup guy. He was throwing his changeup all year. But last start, the changeup was dazzling. 7 innings, 1 hit, 10 strikeouts. Unreal. So the question is he going to be able to repeat that here against the Cubs, who can't hit, of course? They're really running Castillo back here. Pitched just 5 days ago, 100 pitches, but they're a believer in him in this spot. Imanaga starting for the Cubs. He is, in general, of course, very good. Coming off his worst start in a while, though, gave up 3 home runs to Washington. So he should bounce back here, I think. And this is another one where it's just like, obviously, I'd want to be taking the Cubs, but their favorite line was so high that when I ran the numbers, it said take the White Sox, which I don't know if I can agree with. So I think this one I'm going to have to pass on. Well, there's another one where probably, one way or another, these ugly dogs break even. Maybe go 500, and so you cash. Colin Gregory liking Cubs first 5 and Cubs on the night. Cubs get it right. Make Castillo prove it again. Yeah. I mean, we know what changeup guys can do, right? Exhibit A, Nick Martinez for Tampa Bay. He did it over and over again. But Castillo was so bad for so long this year. One start where he gets 10 strikeouts, 1 hit. Give him credit, though. Colin Gregory, D4K. Give him credit. He didn't just strike out 1 or 2. He didn't have 1 or 2 lights out innings. He had 7 entire lights out innings against major league hitters. Credit where credit is due, but I feel you. Let's see where this line has moved, and then we'll look at the 5 inning stuff. Yeah, it moved in the White Sox favor. Yep. My numbers said the Cubs were just too big of a favorite earlier. They were like -170 or so. Now they're all the way down to like 155 or so. So like a 15 or 20 cent market move in favor of the White Sox, which is what my numbers said. To do. Total, though, has not moved much at all. So no move on the total, almost no move on the total, but an obvious big market move in favor of the White Sox. So the market at least believing a little bit that Castillo will be able to do something again. 2 kind of subpar pens here, a little bit. basically a wash. Tiny statistical edge to the Cubs, but we'll hold off on that. Yeah, this is another one. Numbers say take the White Sox, although maybe not at the current line after the move. Very, very tough one. I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can take the White Sox here at plus 138 current line pinnacle. Or even go for some volatility, -1 plus 185. Although, again, we'll look over this card, and probably these horrifically ugly dogs wind up at least breaking even. We'll see. I agree. I can't pull the trigger on it. Castillo's been so vulnerable. Imanaga coming off a bad start, he can be so good. And now it's not such a huge line. So this is probably where the line should be. Man, I'd definitely take the White Sox even at the current line, free play. But I'm not going to make it official. All right, now we'll move on. Last game on the card, Dodgers and Colorado, and another one. The numbers said take Colorado, even going up against the Dodgers and Snell. The Dodgers, of course, overvalued for a while. 4-3 on their homestand, but a bunch of those games were against KC. A bunch of those wins were against KC, and they were very close. They were not dominating like their favorite lines said that they should be. They just lost 3 out of 4 to Milwaukee, who's tough, but still they lost. Colorado now back from a road trip. They actually went 5-4 on that road trip. It's not an East Coast to West Coast trip. Their last series was at San Francisco. They won yesterday 13-7. So I don't like taking Colorado after putting up 13 games at 13 runs at the Giants, but it's just a massive, massive dog line here. Blake Snell, of course, coming back from the Dodgers. His first start back was not good. His second start was awesome. 6 innings, 1 run, 10 strikeouts. So long-term, he's probably back. He's almost certainly back. What to expect from here, not exactly sure. And then Sugano for the Colorado, one of their best pitchers, actually been better at home, can be pretty decent at home. Snell is probably going to again be on like a bit of a pitch limit, but statistically, massive bullpen edge here for the Dodgers, so it doesn't matter. That's just statistically. Numbers said take a shot with Sugano over 15.5 outside a big dog line, even though he has faced the Dodgers twice this year and gotten hit twice, once at Coors, once at the Dodgers. Both times got hit hard. Both times didn't get to 5 innings. Numbers still said take Sugano over 15.5 outs at like plus 130 anyway, and take the Rockies at anything better than plus 200 anyway. And the line has now moved in the Dodgers' favor. So the Dodgers are a massive favorite, and now they're an even bigger favorite. Colorado was like plus 210, plus 205 earlier. Now they're like plus 220, 225, 230 market wide. So another big move towards Colorado, even as a massive favorite. And the total has gotten bet down a full half run. It was 11.5 juiced to the under. Now it's 11 juiced the exact same amount to the under. So the total has dropped a full half run. Big market move in favor of the Dodgers, which is all very understandable. Let's see what people like here. Oldie, shout out Oldie. There you go. Colin Gregory, Rockies plus 2.5, minus 110. Man, if I could get the Rockies plus 6.5 at even money, I'd pound it. I would do that, Colin Gregory. Plus 2.5, minus 110. God, that's so I think I'd just rather take because there's so much volatility involved here with both Sugano and Snell and the bullpens and everything. I'd rather just have the Rockies at plus 230 money line, full game, and just do that. Or even really bet into the volatility and take the Rockies minus 1 at like plus 350 or 340 or something. I hear you. Colin Gregory taking the Rockies plus 2.5. Total has gotten bet down. Sugano, I don't think I can take that outs prop because he's faced the Dodgers twice, just gotten hit twice. It just was not good. Just was not good. But I will shout out that the numbers liked Sugano over 15.5 outs at plus 130. Let's just see where it is right now. And the numbers also, I can't agree with it. I'm not going to pull the trigger on it, but just a massive dog line here. Just a massive friggin' dog line here. Of course, they're way better, the Dodgers. This is a Major League Baseball game, and you just have just a home dog that is just so enormous here. Gosh, now it's up to plus 140 Sugano, so the market's saying Sugano's going to get crushed. All right, I'm going to pass on this. Love to take a shot with Colorado at this big of a dog line. Love to take a shot with Sugano over 15.5 outs at plus 140. But I guess I won't. I guess the Dodgers can come in here and roll. All right, that's it for today's card. I definitely gave out a bunch of picks. It does feel like Baltimore, Miami, Arizona, A's, White Sox, and Rockies are 6 dogs. Might go 3-3, and at worst go like 2-4, and you break even or come close to it. It feels like one of those days. A whole bunch of really ugly dogs on today's card, but some of them I made official here. Some of them I didn't. Very, very interesting show here. Thanks so much for everyone giving their opinions. Godfather, great to see you. Oldie, of course, Thomas Maggio asking, do I like the Braves team total over? I guess so. I don't know. The market likes it. Market likes it a lot. I like the over, but I took Minnesota, so it's entirely possible that Minnesota could win this one 9-6. Total soars over. Braves team total over cashes. The over soars over, and everyone's happy. Everyone's happy. All right, what a great show. What a fun show. We'll see how it turns out with all these ugly dogs, and we'll be back. We'll review it all on Wednesday, baby. Tune in then.
It's easier to sleep in the black. When you're losing your ass and feeling so, you know what to do. Tune in to Pop Sports Radio. Easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. It's a roller coaster ride, you're gonna catch a bad beat. No problem, keep your head up and just bet the spreadsheet. It's easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. All thanks to Jeff Slaughter, these shows have our backs. POD's always rolling, especially the stats. Easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. We got Jimmy, Jose, Debbie, and the fam. Dutch wine time, Spooner, and OG Wham. So hit the like button. Don't say that you can't. If you know what's best, just put your money on tape.